Good morning. Good morning, everyone in the room. Good morning, everyone joining us on YouTube, Zoom, and Facebook. We're going to get started right away with our first two community songs, so I'm going to turn it over to our musicians. Here we go.
Look at the person next to you.
Look at the person next to you.
Say, God loves you and I love you too.
God loves you and I love you too.
Feel the love and the unity.
Feel the love and the unity.
Lift your voice and repeat after me.
Lift your voice and repeat after me.
We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
Take a look at the person next to you.
Look at the person next to you.
Say, recognize the God in you.
I recognize the God in you.
Feel the love and the unity.
Feel the love and the unity.
Lift your voice and repeat after me.
Lift your voice and repeat after me.
We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
For in that walk of life,
For every walk of life,
every creed and color,
every creed and color,
in kinship we unite.
in kinship we unite.
In honor of the God and each other. Take a look at the person next to you.
Take a look at the person next to you.
Namaste, I bow to you.
Namaste, I bow to you.
Feel the love and the unity.
Feel the love and the unity.
Lift your voice and repeat after me.
Lift your voice and repeat after me.
We come together.
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 In the name of love, we come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
Again, we come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
Last time, come together.
We 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 come together in the name of love.
The name of love. Continuing with our togetherness set. Together we'll stand, divided we'll fall. Come on now people, let's get on the ball and work together. Come on, let's work together. Because together we will stand, everybody is part of the plan. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, the road you travel, it seems all uphill. Let's work together. Come on, let's work together. Now people, you know together we will stand. Everybody is part of the plan. Make someone happy, make someone smile. Let's work together and make life worthwhile. Let's work together. Come on, let's work together. Because together we will stand. Everybody's part of the plan. Put your hands together. Come on out, people. Let's walk hand in hand. Let's make this world of ours a good place to stand and work together. Come on, let's work together. Because together we will stand. Everybody is part of the plan. Yeah. Together we'll stand, divided we'll fall. Come on, people, let's get on board and work together. Come on, let's work together. Because together we will stand. Everybody is part of the plan. Yeah. Because together we will stand. Everybody is part of the plan.
Rafe, happy now. So I want to welcome everybody again, folks that have joined us while we were singing. I want to particularly welcome my friends from Santa Rosa, Martha Salazar and her wife, Christina Rivera. It never gets old to say her wife. And his husband. Oh, I have goosebumps. It just makes me so happy. We are growing. Welcome back. Haven't seen you in a while. Yes. Now I have to remember what I'm supposed to do. So it is my privilege and honor. My name is Reverend Rafe Ellis, and I am so honored and privileged to be the senior minister here at Sierra Center for Spiritual Living. So let me share with you who we are and remind us of who we are. We are a radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, supportive community that celebrates the very diversity of creation. We strive to live authentic spiritual lives through a practical application of the teachings of science of mind. We engage in sacred practices that uplift our spirit, deepen our awareness, and ignite our soul's self-expression. We demonstrate active compassion to ourselves, each other, and the world. We experience meaningful contribution through giving generously of our time, talents, and treasures, and we intentionally, on purpose, without apology, promote this community and our teachings. And one of the ways that you can do that is by sharing this live stream on whatever social media platforms you use, and if you have someone you can email the link to from our YouTube page, Sierra Spiritual, and just offer. What happens from there? None of our business. Okay. So one of the things that we do every Sunday morning to demonstrate our inclusivity is our inclusion candle lighting ritual. And we light these candles to celebrate our unity with all people, all faiths, all beings, all life. We light the first candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples. We light the second candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the third candle for Taoism, honoring the path of ultimate reality, the natural way. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. And we light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the middle way and path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the teachings of Jesus as the path of love, forgiveness, and healing by the presence within. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought teachings, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles of love and law. And we light the 10th candle for absolute inclusivity, affirming that all are welcome and celebrated here. And we light this final candle, honoring the infinity of oneness as all creation, seen and unseen. Thank you, Mary Lou, one of our board members helping us out this morning. So now I'm going to turn it back over to our musicians for our next community song.
Love is but a song we sing. Fear's the way we die. There it is. You can make the mountains ring or make the angels cry. Though the bird is on the wing, you may not know why. Come on, people now, smile on each other. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Some may come and some may go, but we will surely pass. When the one that left us here returns for us at last, we are but a moment's sunlight fading in the grass. Come on, people now, smile on each other. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now.
If you hear the song I sing, you will understand.
Listen.
You hold the key to love and fear, all in your trembling hand. Just one key unlocks them both. It's there at your command. Come on, people now, smile on each other. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now.
I say, come on, people now, smile on each other. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now.
Right now, right now.
Perhaps that could be our new national anthem. That's what I'm holding in consciousness. So this is our time of announcements. Our parking contract has been reactivated, so please feel free to park in the Vets lot now. We're all good there, and I just want to speak a public word of gratitude for how easily the county has worked with us on that process, so we weren't paying for an empty lot that we couldn't use because nobody could come. So they were very gracious in us with that. So let's see. I want to speak to this because I got an email asking why we use the same 3 community songs every Sunday for the whole month. Here's why. Because it's about anchoring it in your consciousness. It is about making it so automatic that you hear it as effortlessly as you hear some of the stuff that is anchored in your being already. Like, the Frank Sinatra song, "You're nobody until somebody loves you"? What an uplifting message that is. Right? And it ain't true. So my goal is to get this stuff that counteracts that transforms that, anchored just as deeply in your psyche. So when you need an earworm, it's an earworm that uplifts you instead of lies to you. So that's why we do that. Okay, which my first slide, Juanita? Because I have forgotten. There we go. You guys can't see it in the room because our projector decided to leave the planet. I mean, it's still here in physical form, but it don't work no more. We are open for in-person. We are continuing to live stream through Facebook, YouTube, and Zoom. And if you come, we have a bead system to empower you to communicate, so you don't have to have the same conversation over and over again. So if you are still wanting people to stay 6 feet apart, we're all wearing masks right now because that is per the order of the county health director, and we're honoring that. But if you still want folks to stay 6 feet away from you, you wear a red necklace. If you're still figuring it out minute to minute and you want folks to check in before they reach out to shake your hand or hug you, you wear a yellow one, which it communicates to them to ask. And if you're good with people shaking hands and you're good with close proximity and you're good with hugs, then you wear a green one. And that enables you to communicate to everybody. We also have seat placards. If you want space on either side of you, you can get the "Please do not sit on this seat" as you come through the door, and put one on either side of you. Again, it's to empower you to establish your own safety. Okay. So our actualizing wholeness, we are going to cancel that for the rest of the year because we are heading into a very busy time. October through the end of the year is busy in spiritual community. And so we're just going to cancel that for the rest of the year, which makes space to plan for our Thanksgiving Eve service, our Christmas Eve service, and different things that will help support the community through the holidays. One thing that I can tell you is come up through the greater community that I've been asked to help facilitate is a group for parents of children that are challenged with mental illness, because apparently there is nowhere in our county where those parents can come together and network and support one another. And what I've been told is that that's because of HIPAA regulations. And while I can appreciate that, one of my expertises is in compliance. And since we're not providing any health insurance portability or accountability services, we don't have to deal with HIPAA. And so it will be by word of mouth, by these announcements. I'll let you know when we're actually going to begin that. And it's not therapy, it's bringing parents together and coaching them how to support one another without becoming codependent and sharing their woundedness, to lift each other up, because it could be a slippery slope. I'm thrilled that we're going to be able to provide that for our Nevada County community. Okay. So let's take a breath as we go to our inward shift. And one of the things that we do during this time is we look at our community values. And each week we highlight one. And this week the community value is service. And it's perfect for today's talk, the divine community. And I invite you to think about service from the perspective of giving without any idea of getting anything back. That it's not a quid pro quo. Say that 10 times fast. that it's really the place where whatever is ignited in you spiritually to give to one another, to the community, to the planet, it's that participation in this natural law of reciprocity. And that you give from that place knowing that it's reciprocal, but not from the place of bargaining that if I give this, I get that. Because that's actually not service. That's actually setting up a take. Right? And so service is that place of just giving. Service is that place of Julie Chiarelli giving of her time, talents, and treasures as our percussionist, of Valerie Costa giving of her vocal talents, of the Board of Trustees giving of their time. That's the service that lifts up our community and really allows us to function. And so I invite you to take that image into our time of meditation, and simply take the question, where am I most fully in alignment with spiritual principle as I give into meditation? And so I invite you to go deeper with this next breath. And recognize with me that there is one infinite, ever-present allness, one source, one substance, one cause, that within itself it is whole, perfect, and complete, that it is absolute reality, that it creates out of itself to know itself, to expand its experience of itself, that all form is this one in creation. And so knowing this to be true, I know that I am that. And knowing what is true of me is true of all, I know that I am in its company. That it was here as this building before I arrived. That it is here as the technology. It is here as every guest, as every chair that we sit in. It is all there is. And so I speak my word, which is the word of the infinite speaking as me, declaring, affirming, making real an experience of divinity this morning, an experience of wholeness, an experience of perfection, an experience of completeness. That each and every one, in whatever capacity they're joining us, has joined to know itself as the divine more deeply, to connect more deeply as community. I speak a word of gratitude for each and every person that gives so freely to make this happen. And I surrender my physical self to be used, to simply receive and articulate what the infinite has to share this day. And so, knowing that the word spoken is instantly fulfilled, I let go. In deep, deep gratitude, I release, I let it be, and invite you to join me as we say together, and so it is. So this is our time of affirmation. And for those of you in the room, it's on that little sheet of paper that we've provided since we can't do the slides on the wall. So I will read it once, and then we will read it together. I am a presence of divine love wherever I go. Wherever I am. Excuse me, can't even read. All right, let's say that together. I am a presence of divine love wherever I am. All right. So now I'm going to turn it back over to our musicians for our pre-talk song.
Now is the time for all good men to get together with one another. Iron out our problems, iron out the quarrels, and try to live as brothers. And try to find peace within without stepping on one another. And do respect the women of the world. Remember we all had mothers. And make this land a better land, the world in which we live. And help each man to be a better man with the kindness that you give. I know we can make it.
I know that we can.
I know darn well we can work it out. Oh yes we can, and oh we can, yes we can. Why can't we if we want to? Yes we can. I know we can make it
I know
work.
that we can.
I know we can make
We
it
can
if
work
we
it
try.
out.
Yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Great gosh almighty. Yes, we can. You know we can. Take care of the children of the world. They're our strongest hope for the future, the little bitty boys and girls. Make this land a better land, the world in which we live. Help each man be a better man with the kindness that you give. I know we can make it.
I know that we can.
I know darn well we can work it out. Yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Why can't we if we want to? Yes, we can. I know we can make it.
I know that we can.
I know we can make it if we try. Yes, we can. We can. Yes, we can. Great gosh almighty. Yes, we can. I know we can. I know we can make it
I know
work.
that we can.
I know darn well we can work it out. Yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Why can't we if we want to? Yes, we can. I know we can make it
I know
work.
that we can.
I know we can make it
We can
if
work
we
it
try.
out.
Yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Great gosh almighty. Yes, we can. I know we can.
Si se puede. Let's take a breath together. Why do I do that? Because that's the one thing that we all share. The breath brings us into resonance. So this month, we're starting a new month. Our theme this month is going further together. We'll talk a bit more about that. I want to contextualize the month. We'll be looking at the weekly topics of the divine community, which we're going to be looking at this morning. Our shared vision, Reverend Madeline will be here with us that day. We is greater than me. Rev Lanny will be here that Sunday. And then the fourth Sunday, dig deep. And then we'll close out with I'll meet you there. And I understand that the divine activity has been spoken in that we may have a new song based on the Rumi wagon wheel, the Great Wagon, for that Sunday. So I'm just claiming that that's going to happen. So this context of going further, first of all, we have to recognize that most of us hear that phrase very linearly, that we're in one place and we're going to leave that place to go further to somewhere else. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about going further in terms of expansion, that it's not about leaving one place and going to another. It's expanding, going further outward in every direction, up, down, angles, all of it. And you may, if you're on social media platform or listen to any politician, you may be familiar with the phrase, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Now, I did some research on this because it's always a flag for me when something like that is just couched in an African proverb. That's a mighty large continent. Where in Africa did that come from? And so far, even the scholars that have researched it can't pinpoint it. And so I just want to give due propers to the continent of Africa, that it may or may not actually have originated there. And if it did, thank you. And if it didn't, Western culture apologizes for blanketing you in that way. It's just not always the best way to do it. So, was having a conversation with somebody earlier this week, just a little humor aside. We know in the South that if you want to go fast and far and you're out in the woods, you always take your slowest friend with you. Because then you don't have to outrun the predator, you just have to outrun your buddy. It's true. So this idea, if you want to get there fast, go alone. If you want to go further, go together. Because yes, if you're the only one, you can go from point A to point B very fast. You can get something done very fast. It can become a really slippery slope in community where we actually start practicing exclusion because we don't make space for people who may not be as fast as we are. I'm always reminded of the words of Malcolm X. Never condemn someone for not knowing what you know or doing what you do as fast as you do it. There was a time you didn't know it either. Yeah? So perhaps we can embrace a both and assess, do I need to get there quickly, or can I expand by being inclusive and create a broader getting there, a getting there together, and we go further. The timeless wisdom that we're looking at from our What We Believe statement, we believe the ultimate goal of life to be the complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. We believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. Now, there was a long time before I actually believed that. I said I believed it, but it was a process of coming to believe it, because it's very nuanced, and we will look at that probably throughout the rest of the year. Complete emancipation is a process. Freedom is the byproduct of emancipation. Right? But emancipation is a process. It's disconnecting. It's shedding things that no longer apply. So we're in a process. The evolutionary vision that we're using this month, we envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that, listen carefully, respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship is with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. And so what we're talking about is a foundation of life, the essence of life, the cause of life, which calls us to get to all life. We got to look past a lot of behavior. We got to look past a lot of personalities to what's really there. Don't get fooled by appearances. So I want to start this morning looking at wholeness. And I ran across this amazing quote by a French Jesuit priest, scientist, paleontologist, theologian, philosopher, and teacher, Pierre Desjardins. And this is what he said. Driven by the forces of love, the fragments of the world seek each other so that the world may come into being. Let me say that again. Driven by the focuses of love, the fragments of the world seek each other so that the world may come into being. Wholeness already is. Fragmented as it is, it's still a wholeness. Right? You have a glass window. It's whole. Right? But let a peach pit fly out of your lawnmower and hit that glass window, and this phenomenal thing begins to happen. First there's a pop, And then there is hours of as that glass fragments. Fragments. And yet, if it's a tempered glass, it will be completely fragmented and still whole in the frame. Right? And so I invite you to, when you think about any element of this thing called life, that you begin to let in this concept that it's already whole. There's nothing missing. There's absolutely nothing missing. I get so amazed sometimes at how much time we spend looking for what we are. Right? We pray for instead of praying from. We already are. So we're going to look at this from the micro to the macro. So, well, first we're going to start with wholeness. That's the macro, right? So everything that is already whole, perfect, and complete, you are a center of that. So you don't have to look for anything. God, Spirit, the divine, love, life, whatever you call it, is not going to give you peace because it made you peace. It's not going to give you abundance because it made you abundant. You already are that. The trick is tapping to get rid of the lie that what you're seeking is out here and know that it's right here, that it's right where you are. Right? There's no place to look. I got an amen corner this morning. This is a happy Southern minister now. I miss a good amen corner. When we know the truth of who we are, we stop looking outside. Because every time you look outside, what you're affirming is that you're not it. You affirm the lie, and it gets anchored more and more deeply in our consciousness. And those are the places of despair that we feel. And how could we not feel despair when we're constantly disconnecting ourselves from the very source of our being? The rubber band only goes so far. Right? I mean, go home and get a rubber band. Notice how it gets thinner and thinner the more you stretch it. Our connection with ourselves gets thinner and thinner the more we stretch it, the more we put it outside of ourselves. And eventually it snaps and we feel it as despair. We don't have to ever do that again. You are made of it, infused with it. Everything that you could ever imagine yourself to be is fully present in you, simply waiting your awareness of it. It's just that simple. Now, that does not make it easy. But it's that simple, right? And so we know what wholeness is. We recognize that we are that in form. And then the work starts. Because we get up in the morning and society is still here, filled with people who don't know that. What did Malcolm X say? There was a time we didn't know it either. And so perhaps the way we interact with that brings about more awareness of it. That perhaps instead of telling people who they are, we show them who they are. And that happens in community. We come together like today, right? We have online community, we have in-room community. Hopefully folks are chatting on Zoom and connecting on Facebook through the chat function. You can even chat with one another on YouTube. Connect. We teach classes for two reasons. One is to help us continually learn. The other is to build connection and community. Because in those classes, in those spaces of learning, we get vulnerable with each other. We explore together. We allow for the messiness of community. And we learn how to hold each other in that messiness. Authentic community is messy. It's messy. It's gloriously messy. Because if we're really being inclusive, everybody gets to be heard. Everybody gets to be seen. Everybody gets to be cherished and celebrated. And that never means everybody gets their way. We are so confused. I cannot tell you how many times when I sit with people who are struggling and I ask them, how will you know when you've been heard? When people do what I ask them to do. Nope. You are never going to feel heard. Hearing you doesn't mean I become your puppet. It means I hear you. It means I hold what you're saying as sacred. And sometimes it means saying no. Because sometimes ideas have already been tried and didn't work. Sometimes we're not ready for that idea yet. But it doesn't mean we dismiss it. It means everybody's visible. Everybody matters. We listen. That's what inclusion is. And where we can, we defer decisions. But those decisions are in the greater good. Because when we understand wholeness, individualized expressions of wholeness, community, well, now we're out into the macro. Okay? There's still only one thing happening. It cannot be divided against itself. And so when we know socially, politically, medically, financially, whatever it is, if it's out of alignment with principle, it isn't operating in the harmonious operation of wholeness. Something is out of whack. There is a sense of separation. There is the activity of separation. Because whatever we believe, we're going to manifest. And so if we believe we're separate, we're going to manifest an experience of separation. Right? If I believe it's my way or the highway, I should expect to spend some time on the highway. Right? There's one thing happening here. How do we get there? How do we get to this idea of the beloved community? Beyond our dinner table. Beloved community beyond our spiritual communities. Beloved community beyond our county and state and country borders. How do we get to that world that works for all? We have to come into alignment with spiritual principle, the harmonious operation of one. And so before I close out with this quote, I want to invite you this week, the things to, and you'll notice in the newsletter, I always give you homework for the week. There's a reason for that. It's great to hear it, but if we don't do anything with it, it just kind of evaporates like a puddle. So I invite you this week, come up, what comes up for you? To journal, talk to your friends, whatever. What comes up to you when you contemplate the concept of divine community? What images are you holding in consciousness? What does that look like? How can we take the concept of divine community into every area of our life? Every area. When you're putting gas in your car, when you're getting your groceries, every area. And then what role can you play most actively to participate in creating the beloved community? At whatever level comes up for you. Just play with those ideas. I want to invite you, let's take a breath together and just listen to these words of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. But the end is reconciliation. The end is redemption. The end is the creation of the beloved community. It is this type of spirit and this type of love that can transform opposers into friends. The type of love that I stress here is not eros, a sort of aesthetic or romantic love, not philia, a sort of reciprocal love between personal friends, but it is agape, which is understanding goodwill for all men, people. It is an overflowing love which seeks nothing in return. It is the love of God working in the lives of all men, all people. This is the love that may well be the salvation of our civilization. Let's take this into prayer. And so as I breathe, I recognize it is life breathing. That it is life infusing itself with breath, nourishing itself. One, always one. That every expression of it is it. That this one breath is breathing all of life. That there is one mind, one activity. It thinks my thoughts, it dreams my dreams. It evolves itself, unfolds itself in, through, and as me and all my relations. It is that singular substance unfolding itself everywhere present, no spot where it is not. It is the very perfection, the wholeness, the oneness. It is perfect peace. It is abundance. It is infinite wisdom, intellect, perfect health. And so I know that it is fully present in, through, and as each individualized expression of it. And so I speak my word, claiming and affirming that wholeness is the activity of civilization. That each lung breathes easily and effortlessly. That each cell in every being, infused with the intelligence of creation itself, knows exactly how to heal every physical malady that shows up in form. I claim it. That the wisdom, the infinite intelligence of the universe is making itself known as solution. As solution. And then our single focus becomes more of what we want. Turning away from the problem. Lifting up solution. Always in alignment, the harmonious operation of one as we create, as we each come together in consciousness and then in form to create the beloved community. A world that truly works for every fragment of creation within the wholeness of the one. So grateful. So grateful to feel that energize every part of my physical being with its truth. To feel the calm, to feel the peace of truth within me, and the excitement of expansion. And so I let it go. I let it go with deep gratitude, knowing it's already done. There is no waiting period, and that involves and appears and made manifest in form, in time and space, in perfect, holy, divine order. I let it go. I let it be. Please join me as we say together, and so it is. Let's take another breath together. So before we go to our giving slide, I have a treat. But I forgot the other microphone. So Miss Valerie Costa is going to come share with us her experience of conscious giving.
So we had a conversation about this yesterday, and he said, maybe I'll call you up. And I said, okay. And so I have absolutely nothing prepared to talk about this other than what we talked about. So I guess I'll just say that. So a couple of years ago, before I started coming here, I was always operating from kind of a place of lack. And, I always had just enough to pay the bills, maybe put some stuff on the credit card. And I have a word of the year every year. Sorry, this is so disjointed. Like I said, I have like nothing prepared. Every year is a word of the year, and 2 years ago it was service. And so instead of, because I've been trying to manifest money, and then I fell through my deck, and now I have a permanent like bump and scar on my leg that got me money. And I'm like, maybe I should stop focusing on manifesting money. So I said, I'm going to spend this whole year devoted to service, and any opportunity that I have to do good that I am asked to do, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to serve, and I'm going to be more giving of what money that I do have to causes that move my heart. And so I focused on that. And what started happening was that money really was coming to me. And now I'm like at this place after really getting that concept, not just the law of attraction, but the law of circulation, the law of reciprocity, and what you put out without any expectation comes back to you in ways that are miraculous and that you never would have even imagined happening. So I want to encourage everyone who might be watching at home, anyone in the room, don't put yourself where you're going to be destitute, but to give what you can, because this place is really special, and what we learn here really works if you apply it. So there's my completely impromptu talk. I hope that it moved some people, and give.
Thank you. How perfect was that? See, that's the beauty of the divine speaking as us. It doesn't need a script. It already knows what to say. So let's say our giving affirmation together. Those in the room, it's on your sheet there. Those online, it's up. Here we go. I give this gift with love and joy from a consciousness of abundance. Divine love blesses and prospers all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Ushers, please receive the gifts. Musicians, hang on. I got to turn your mics back on. Okay.
We've got a song for that.
There's always a song for that.
Money is coming to me.
Money is coming to me.
Money keeps coming to me. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me. I could just feel it, and I believe it's coming to me now. And I'm not worried about how. Money is coming to me.
Come on.
The universe is working with me. I could just feel it, and I believe it's working for me now. I'm not worried about how. Money is coming to me.
Come on.
More than enough to live.
More than enough to live.
More than enough to give.
More than enough to give.
More than enough to share.
More than enough to
Feels like it's already here. More than enough to shop.
More than enough to shop.
More than enough to drop.
More than enough to drop.
More than enough to save. With plenty left over to give away. And money is coming to me. I can just feel it. And I
There's an earworm to take with you. And so I speak a word of blessing, a word of gratitude, knowing that this divine energy that we call money moves to support Sierra Center for Spiritual Living and moves through Sierra Center for Spiritual Living to do good work in the world. And so it is.
So it is.
Thank you. Okay, couple of closing announcements. I, for the first real time in 2 years, am actually going on vacation. Woohoo! Yes. Whew. We have to take care of ourselves or we run out of juice, and I'm close. The dashboard light is blinking. So Reverend Madeline will be here next week. Reverend Lanny will be here the following week. Juanita will be here throughout the week to make sure everything is taken care of. So I assure you, you are in good hands. I want to thank everybody this morning, Julie, Jeff, Valerie. I want to thank Travis Lee back there in his learning curve. He's going to soak up this technology thing here. I want to thank Mary Lou for being our greeter and our wizard behind the curtain. Juanita, thank you so much. So much. Her being willing to learn all of the technology end of it is really the gate that opens so that I can take vacation. So you are so appreciated. Yeah, there are just not enough words. Reminder that we are not doing the Actualizing Wholeness group for the rest of the year. That will be in the newsletter reminding us as well. Am I missing anything, Juanita? Okay. If she says it's so, it's so. So I invite you to stand. Let's do our benediction. Something wonderful is happening as me right now.
Something wonderful is happening as me right now.
It is this thing called wholeness.
It is this thing called wholeness.
It is this thing called love.
It is this thing called love.
It is this thing called beloved community.
It is this thing called beloved community.
I know it.
I know it.
I feel it.
I feel it.
I sense it.
I sense it.
Now say this one like you mean it. Because I am it.
Because I am it.
And so it is. Sing us out, musician.
I release and I let go. Let the Spirit fill my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here. Oh God, I